Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I was kind of going through the comments, and I was reading the comments, and I was like, oh, I should do a video about this, or oh, I should do a video about that. And then I got this comment on my last video that I did, and somebody said, thank you, Peter. I needed this today. It's been a struggle lately to get anything done. And you know, that's kind of not that specific comment, but that comment of struggling is a comment that I get pretty regularly on my videos, on all of my channels. People will say, oh, thank you for making me laugh right now. I'm like going through a really hard time. I'm really struggling, you know. Or I'll talk on my vlog, and somebody will say, like, thank you for, you know, sharing this or telling this story, or you got my mind off things. I'm really going through hard stuff. This has been one of the things that was really unexpected about YouTube when I started over 8 years ago on my BookTube channel, was how many messages I would get from people that would say, I'm going through, like, I mean, so many people are like, I love your videos, you make me so happy, blah, blah, blah. But I get so many DMs, emails, and things from people that will say, I'm really struggling. I'm really going through a hard time right now. You know, like, your videos have helped me so much. I've gotten so many specific emails from people and DMs from saying, you know, I'm going through chemo right now and I watch your videos and they make me laugh, or they make me think about things from my past and my childhood, and they really get me through the chemo. Or I've had people that will say, you know, like, my spouse or my husband or my wife, you know, is in the emergency room, or we're at the doctor's office, and, you know, and we've been sitting here for hours and I've been watching your videos and they've been helping me get through it, and I'm really struggling right now. I've gotten so many messages from people that will say, and this is not a pat myself on the back moment, this is just to acknowledge how many people are struggling on a daily basis out there, right? I'll get so many messages from people that will say, I just lost my job and I feel lost and I don't know what to do, and I'm applying for jobs, but I needed a break, and your videos are really helping me. Or I'll get people that'll say, I'm going through a breakup. It's the worst breakup that I've ever gone through in my entire life. I don't know what to do. I get messages from people that are just like, I just don't know what to do next in my life. You know, I feel very lost right now. People that have just graduated from college, people that, you know, are, you know, they've lost a spouse or a parent or whatever. So many people that are going through really, really tough times. And, you know, I think, and I wanted to talk about this today, this idea of struggling in life, and that some things that I think that I've learned in my life about that, and how I use those struggles that I've gone through in the past today, okay? So what I want to say, first of all, is for anybody out there that's watching this, if you're struggling right now in any kind of way, if you're going through really, really tough times, whether those are, you know, chronic medical issues, or, you know, you've just lost somebody, or a pet. I don't think we talk enough about, like, the loss of pets, which is absolutely devastating, right? You know, like, I mean, the loss of pets in my life has been just, I mean, it's really just been so hard. And, so anyway, you know, whether you're going through a breakup or a job loss or a job change, or you're moving across country and you're moving place that you've never been before and you don't know anybody, whatever you're going through right now, if you're just going through, you know, a mental struggle in your life right now, or you're just feeling low, or you're struggling with, you know, mental health issues, and you're just trying to get inspired to get motivated, this is a period of your life, you know? This is a period of your life that you're going to go through, and you are going to get to the other side. You are going to be okay, right? The reason I know that is because I have been at periods in my life when I felt like I'm never going to get out of this. I'm never going to get on the other side, you know? When my mom passed away, I was numb. I was just very, very numb. I didn't even really know how to respond to the loss. I didn't really even know how to respond to the grief at first, you know? And I've shared this before, that for like the first 2 months, I just was like, I mean, I literally felt like I was just walking around in a daze, you know? And then I started traveling a lot that summer and visiting friends and stuff. And then it wasn't until a couple years later that I came back into the rooms of recovery that I really started sharing about my grief. That was really, and that was also, you know, like, and then years later getting on my vlog, I think that's why the first 2 years of my vlog I was crying and telling all these stories about my mom, because, I mean, I still do, but back then more, because I was really grieving in real time. It was so cathartic for me, you know? When I lost my aunt and uncle, breakups that I've gone through, you know, my husband and I almost getting divorced. I thought we were going to get divorced. I can remember standing in this very bedroom, you know, me standing right behind where I am, and him standing by the closet door, and him looking at me and saying, we need to go to therapy or we're going to get divorced. And I can't do this anymore. Like, we need to go now, you know? And I can remember that and thinking, we're going to get divorced, and I'm not going to know this man anymore. He's not going to be in my life. We're not going to share anything together anymore, you know? And I can just remember how devastated I was, you know? I can remember resigning from my position. And even though I was really excited about that, you know, there was a part of me that, like, I'd gone to treatment there, and then I ended up working there, and I thought I would retire from there, you know, and that wasn't where my life took me, you know. And so, you know, I can remember that. I can remember the breakups that I've gone through. My last 2 breakups, each of them were sad. They led me to where I'm at today, but they were sad. Friendships that I've had to set boundaries with, and people that I've lost in my life, you know, all the loss that I've had, the accident. I can remember after the accident, I mean, you know, I'm like healing, and I'm going through this police investigation, and I'm terrified, and I'm like, I don't know what's next in my life, and I don't know if I'll ever return to YouTube, and I don't know, you know, what's going to happen to me. And Alex is being very careful, and you know, I didn't know what's going to happen to my marriage, my health. I had this brain bleed. The doctors were telling me it didn't look good. I didn't know if I was going to die from it, you know. And on top of that, I have all this guilt and remorse, you know, over the accident and what happened. I didn't know how to make sense of that, you know. And then the pancreatitis, I thought, oh my God, it's just, now I'm getting older. It's just going to be one medical thing after another. Well, I've lived through all those things. I made it to the other side. I'm here. I'm still here, you know. And I want those things to be learning experiences for me, you know? I want them to be gains, not losses. In fact, there was this thing that we used to read every morning. I actually just saved this last night. I didn't think I was going to read this today. I saved it again. It's this... It's a prayer, but the version that I have is not said as a prayer. It's by Hartzell Wilson, and we used to say it every morning in treatment. We used to read it. And hold on a second, let me pull it up. I have it. I saved it just last night. So funny that I saved it. This is the beginning of a new day. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something I have traded for it. I want it to be a gain, not a loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not regret the price I paid for it today. And, you know, that's kind of how I look at each and every single day, is that what about today is going to be, you know, powerful to me? What's going to be good for me today? I've been keeping this, like, journal of what I've been doing every single day. And it's just like, you know, watch TV, watch these shows, film these videos, took a walk, listened to this audiobook, you know, hung out with Alex, did this, whatever, something cute that we did. But at the end of it, I'm like I pick one happy moment for each day. Just one moment of the day that I'm happy. And it's interesting because none of the moments are like, I bought this thing or I went on this trip or what. I mean, I haven't. I bought a lot of things, but not like, you know, huge thing or gone on a huge trip since I started. I started July 1st. And I've kept it up every day in July. And the moments are like laying down with Boo listening to music on the bed, or a chipmunk running through the yard while I'm walking, you know, or laughing on the phone with Tanya, or listening to an audiobook while I'm, you know, while I'm walking, and lighting candles. This night that I lit candles and turned a little fan on downstairs while I was watching shows in the dark. You know, it's these small moments. And life for me is really about those small moments. When I go through something hard today, my first response is not to go and look at all of the things from the past that I've made it through. That is not, in all honesty, that's in my toolbox, but that's not the first thing that I go to. The first thing I go to is, I'm struggling, I'm scared. It usually is out of fear. Like, how am I going to get through this? Am I going to get through this? What do I need to do to get through this? I don't feel like I can get through this. I don't even know what to do. I feel almost kind of frozen in fear, if you want to know the truth. But that's why I have people in my life, like my husband, my sponsor, my therapist, my best friend. And when I talk to them, they point out things to me like, well, you thought this, but you made it through this time. You know, you thought that and you made it through that time. And if you could make it through those times, then you can make it through this. And so whoever's watching this video, whatever struggle you're going through right now, you've gone through struggles in your past and you have made it through. You're stronger than you know you are. You are stronger today than you think you are, than you believe you are, than you know you are. Because you've gone through things in the past and you've made it through them. Maybe you only hung on by a thread, but you made it through them, you know? I can remember being in marriage counseling, and I've shared this story so many times. It was an individual session. That was when we first started marriage counseling, and we would go to marriage counseling, you know, and then individual counseling as well. And it was the session where the therapist said to me, like, if you and Alex broke up, do you think you'd be okay? And I was like, no, not at all. This is where I learned my codependency, right? And he's like, but eventually you'd be okay. And I was like, I couldn't see it. I literally could not see the other side of the dark cloud, right? So interesting, because I'm going to tell you a story in a second, because it's like starting to rain outside. And it just came over because earlier it was like beautiful, and it's like totally dark down there now. So I'm going to tell the story to end this in a second, but he said, I mean, he kept on going. He was like, but eventually, like a couple years later, I was like, I could not see it. I could not see myself without Alex in my life. Even though our marriage was miserable at that time. I didn't want to stay with him. I didn't want to live without him, you know? So eventually I was like, after like 10 or 15 minutes, I was like, well, yeah, I guess eventually I'd be okay. And he was like, so you don't need Alex, right? And it was in that moment that I realized, like, all the past times that I'd broken up with somebody, like, I thought I couldn't move on either, and I did. And I survived, and I was okay. And if Alex and I didn't make it, I was going to be okay. Thankfully, we did, right? But if we didn't, I was going to be okay. I was going to make it, right? You know, and I used to use this analogy a lot. And, you know, like when you take like a road trip, like a family road trip, and you're like going somewhere, and you got like, you know, let's say 10 hours ahead of you to go like from Indiana to Florida, let's say, right? And you're going through like the middle of nowhere on the interstate, and all of a sudden you see these dark clouds, you know, coming before you. And you can just tell it's like pouring down rain. And it's like, you know, 10 minutes in front of you. And you're like, should we pull over and wait for it to pass? But you keep on driving. And then you start seeing that there's less and less people in the interstate. More people get off, more people pull off. You know, they're going to wait the storm out. And you keep on going, right? And it starts raining harder, and it starts hailing, and you can't really see in front of you, and you're the only car on the interstate anymore. And that's how it feels when we're going through the middle of a struggle, that we're the only person out there. We're all alone going through this by ourselves. And at one point, it's coming down so hard, the rain is coming down so hard, it's so dark that you feel like, I can't go one more inch, right? And that in that moment, the sunlight breaks, the rain stops, and you've made it to the other side. And you look in the rearview mirror, and you see all those cars pulling over, and the black clouds coming their way, and it's starting to rain on them, right? And you think to yourself, I made it. I made it through the rain. We made it through the rainstorm. Now look, it's beautiful skies, right? Well, that's the struggles in life that we go through. We're always going to make it to the other side. We may be changed. We may not be the same people that we were before because we've gone through that experience. Hopefully we're not the same people, you know? Hopefully we are different, changed people. I used to be so afraid of change, and now I embrace it. I don't love it, but I embrace it, you know? I don't want to be the same person that I was when 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 5 years ago or even a year ago. I want to continue to change and evolve and grow. And sometimes to go through that means you have to go through struggles. You know, back in the day when I used to lift weights a lot, I can remember somebody telling me you have to break down muscle to build it back up again. And that's how you build muscle. Well, we build ourselves up the same way. We go through struggles, we learn through them, and we come out on the other side. But if you're going through something right now, remind yourself of the past struggles that you went through, and remind yourself you made it through then, you'll make it through this. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.